But tell us, you both are, I mean, I described you to some people as a very remarkable couple, and you really are. We've really just loved getting to know you and just hear your hearts. But Sarah, for the last 6 or 7 years, you have been the CEO of the Church Revitalisation Trust. Now, tell us, what is that, and how did it all begin?
Oh, you're so lovely. Can I just say, she'll feel really uncomfortable, but Guy and MJ, what amazing leadership you've got here. Can I say, Tom and I have spent these last 4 days meeting with them, talking to them, meeting staff like Keenan, and meeting the pastorate. And can I tell you, when God brings a leadership team like this together, watch the space, because we believe God is doing something so extraordinary here. So we've loved it, absolutely loved it. So Church Revitalisation Trust. In 2016, in our country, all the headline newspapers were saying, church in existential crisis, there's going to be no more Church of England in 30 years, there's no one under 18 in the church, it's dead, it's a fossil, you know, we're going to have to sell off all the buildings and they're going to become kind of carpet warehouses or restaurants, or, you know. And at the time, I was the group chief of staff for Nicky Gumbel, who is the founder of Alpha, the Alpha course, which I know you're running here at Bootlegger. And Nicky, I remember there was this one social commentator called Jeremy Paxman who wrote in the Financial Times, and he said this quote. He said, there are more members for the Royal Society for the Protection for Birds than there are churchgoers in the UK. And I just remember thinking that was like the breaking point. Surely not. That cannot be the case. And so Nicky asked me to do this job. He said, Sarah, I want you to do a project. I want you to take some time and do a deep dive into our nation. I want you to map it. I want to know what's anecdotal, just stories, and what's hard data. Have we really lost a younger generation? Where is their life? Is it the Pentecostal church, the Baptist? Is it the Catholics? You know, I want to know what is mapping of our nation look like. And then he asked me 3 things. He said, what have we got? Have we as a church based in London, which is where Tom and I are clergy on the clergy team, have we got anything to offer our nation? And if we have, what is the model? What does it look like? How much would it cost and how long would it take to reverse the decline of the church in our lifetime? And then he was like, go. And if you ever come across Nicky Gumbel, it's kind of like, if I could have that by tomorrow, that would be wonderful. So I was like, Nicky, maybe I just need to take a little bit of a time. So I took a month and I got a consultant to come and work with me. And it was like the war rooms, mapping Google Docs everywhere. And all I can say, it was an equally depressing month as it was deeply churning. You know, like those moments when you're like, there is something stirring. I was quite sleepless during that month, just trying to process what I was seeing. And if you look on the Church of England website or any Google Doc church decline in the UK, you will see a graph. And effectively, the graph goes like this, like we're heading over a cliff. And that is what the data shows. It shows that churches are doing well if they have 5 people under 18 of them. And so what I started to look at is, back in the 80s, somebody called John Wimber came over from the Anaheim Vineyard in America, and he came to us as a church. We're a very traditional Church of England church, based in Knightsbridge in London. And he arrived, and he was really relaxed, and he chewed gum, and they all had baseball caps on, and they all seemed very cool to us. And he talked about church planting. And we were like, is that landscape gardening? Well, what exactly is he talking about? And he went on even further, and he was like, give away your best. Give away your best leaders, your best resource. We were like, he must be mad. Does he know how long it's taken us to raise up these leaders, these alpha leaders, these connect group, these life group leaders? We can't give away our best. But our leadership at the time caught the vision. And what we had at the time was an amazing bishop called Richard Charters. And he was the Bishop of London. And he, in partnership with Sandy Miller, our vicar at the time, and then Nicky Gumbel, said, okay, I will not let one church building close without offering it to you first, for you to send a team to revitalise or to reopen it. And that's what we did. And can I say it was by the grace of God? It was quite haphazard. We made every mistake in the book, but we would send a team. So we'd be like, sort of like, Keenan, where do you like? Where would your mates like to be? Great, take them. There's a church. Good luck. Good luck. See you next year. Hope you make it. We'll see you at our festival. No training, nothing. And by the grace of God, these churches grew. And they significantly grew. And when I started doing this mapping, I looked that actually all of those churches had become the largest Anglican churches within their diocese within the first 3 years. So I mapped that and I thought, well, maybe that's what we've got to offer. You know, others do incarnational, smaller, messy church better than us. Brilliant. We need everyone. And we need everyone to plant in our nation if we're going to move the dial, if we're going to reach the next generation. So looked at what that could look like. And if, let's say, we grew to 150, we were growing much bigger than that, but let's say just 150, good number, then if we just alone planted 3 of these resource churches a year, which were based near student either digs or unis or in the centre of the city, somewhere where young people gathered. If we could plant 3 of those a year, and every 3 years, because that's the training for curates, they could plant every 3 years, then in 12 years' time, we would start to reverse the decline. And I think when Nicky Gumbel saw that, he was like, okay, we're going to go after this. We're going to set up a separate entity. We're going to set up a charity, the Church Revitalisation Trust, and we're going to put resource into it, and we're going to get the best board members we can possibly have who are visionaries, who are like, I'm going to invest in this, and we're going to see this thing fly, because we've got one shot. We've got one shot at this, and we just felt not on our watch. And he often says, you know, that the closed buildings and closed churches are like a palace of a long-forgotten king. And people go past and they say, the king is dead, how sad. And we want to say, he is very much alive, he is not dead. So that's what we've been doing, MJ. We've been planting.
That is, you've been busy. You've been busy.